What if I told you that Atlantis was not just a lost civilization, but rather the greatest interdimensional portal ever established on Earth? Have you ever wondered why so many cultures around the world speak of a lost land inhabited by beings of light? The curiosity about this civilization goes far beyond what Plato wrote more than 2,000 years ago. There is something that ancient texts do not fully reveal, something that connects this mysterious island with visitors from another star system. For decades, archaeologists and researchers have searched for Atlantis in all the oceans of the planet, but perhaps they were looking in the wrong place. What if this civilization was not merely terrestrial, but a colony established by extraterrestrial beings from Arcturus, one of the brightest stars in our night sky? The story you know about Atlantis may be just the tip of the iceberg of a much more extraordinary truth. The Arcturians, according to various esoteric traditions and contactee reports, are described as one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, beings of pure energy and wisdom who would have established bases on our planet thousands of years ago. These beings transcended the limitations of physical matter millennia ago, developing capabilities that challenge our current understanding of reality and consciousness. Their ships are frequently described as structures of pure light that can assume solid form when necessary, utilizing technologies based on direct manipulation of universal quantum laws. The mystery deepens when we discover that ancient civilizations like the Maya, Egyptians, and Sumerians made specific references to a bright star in the north from which celestial masters descended. This star, known today as Arcturus, is located in the constellation of Bootes and is one of the most evolved stars in our galaxy, having completed its hydrogen fusion cycle and entered a red giant phase that makes it a cosmic beacon, visible at great distances. Today we will explore surprising connections between the mysteries of Atlantis and this cosmic civilization, revealing evidence that could completely change our understanding of human history. Prepare yourself for a journey that will challenge everything you believed you knew about our true ancestors and the cosmic destiny of the human race. The traditional narrative about Atlantis has always focused on terrestrial aspects, but when we analyze Plato's texts with more attentive eyes, we discover fascinating references to beings who were not completely human. The Greek philosopher explicitly mentions that the Atlantean rulers were direct descendants of Poseidon, a deity who came from the sky and possessed technologies incomprehensible for that time. This description should not be interpreted literally as mythology, but as the attempt by ancients to explain contacts with a technologically superior civilization. Plato's original texts, when translated directly from ancient Greek, reveal details that were lost or softened in later translations. He describes the primordial Atlanteans as beings who could manipulate natural elements through mental commands, live hundreds of years without showing signs of aging, and communicate directly through telepathic waves that cross continents instantaneously. These capabilities do not represent poetic fantasies, but precise descriptions of Arcturian abilities documented in contemporary channeled texts. According to the most detailed descriptions, these beings possessed distinctive physical characteristics that clearly differentiated them from primitive terrestrial humans. They were significantly taller than common humans, often exceeding 2 meters in height, had a more delicate but proportionally more resistant bone structure, and their eyes possessed an inner luminosity that reflected their elevated energetic nature. Their skin emanated a subtle glow that intensified during states of deep mental concentration. Ancient records speak of technology based on gigantic crystals that could channel cosmic energies directly from the stars, specifically from Arcturus. This description coincides impressively with modern reports about Arcturian civilization, known for utilizing crystals as primary conductors of interdimensional energy and quantum communication. These crystals functioned as cosmic antennas, maintaining a constant connection with the mother civilization located in the Arcturian star system. Arcturian technology operated through principles that our science has only recently begun to glimpse: manipulation of morphogenetic fields, utilization of dark energy as a power source, and communication through quantum entanglement on a macroscopic scale. The Atlanteans inherited simplified versions of these technologies, adapted to function in the terrestrial vibrational density of that era. Ancient texts describe technologies in Atlantis that challenge our current understanding of physics, but find impressive parallels when compared with contemporary reports about Arcturian capabilities. Gigantic crystals provided unlimited energy for the entire civilization, not through combustion or fission processes, but through direct channeling of cosmic energy from Arcturus through microscopic dimensional portals maintained stable by specific frequencies. The central energy source of Atlantis was described as a colossal crystal, over 100 meters tall, positioned at the top of a stepped pyramid in the geographic center of the main island. This crystal, known in archaic texts as the Tuaoi stone or fire crystal, was not a common terrestrial mineral, but an Arcturian technological artifact that functioned as a quantum receiver transmitter capable of capturing energy directly from the stellar core of Arcturus. The functioning of this technology was based on principles of multidimensional harmonic resonance that our modern quantum physics is only beginning to theorize. The crystal was tuned to vibrate at specific frequencies that created stable dimensional bridges between Earth and Arcturus, allowing instantaneous energy transfer through tunnels in space-time. This energy arrived in the form of purified stellar plasma that was converted into electricity, heat, light, and other forms usable by Atlantean systems. Atlantean vehicles, described in texts as vimanas or celestial carriages, operated through anti-gravitational technology based on manipulation of tachyonic fields. These vehicles possessed no conventional motors, but utilized smaller crystals tuned with the central crystal to create energy fields that neutralized terrestrial gravitational effect and allowed free movement in all three-dimensional directions. Witnesses of that era describe silent flying objects that moved like fish in water without apparent physical limitations. The Atlantean communication system functioned through a crystalline neural network that connected the entire civilization in a web of interconnected consciousness. Smaller crystals, the size of a human fist, were distributed to each family and functioned as access terminals to the main network. Any person trained in Arcturian techniques of mental communication could access this network and exchange information instantaneously with any other point of the empire, regardless of geographical distance. Although the exact location of Atlantis remains officially a mystery, there exists intriguing geological and archaeological evidence scattered across the planet that supports the existence of a technologically advanced civilization in a period much earlier than conventional history admits. This evidence, frequently ignored or minimized by official archaeology, reveals patterns consistent with descriptions of Arcturian technology applied on a planetary scale. Submarine formations discovered over the last 50 years in various oceans reveal structures that appear artificial but are too ancient to have been built by known civilizations. The Yonaguni complex in Japan presents architectural characteristics that resemble Atlantean descriptions found in ancient Tibetan and Hindu texts. Stone structures cut with millimetric precision, monumental stairways with perfect angles, and complex geometric symbols carved in rock suggest construction technology far advanced for any era known by conventional archaeology. Petrographic analyses of Yonaguni stones reveal tool marks that correspond to no known implement from antiquity. The cuts present microscopic characteristics consistent with plasma or laser technology, creating vitreous surfaces impossible to produce with conventional tools from any historical period. These marks are identical to those found in other megaliths around the world, suggesting the utilization of a globally standardized cutting technology. In the depths of the Bermuda Triangle, a region historically associated with unexplained phenomena that coincide with descriptions of Arcturian activity, magnetic anomalies and crystalline structures have been discovered that should not exist naturally in the Atlantic Ocean floor. Submarine expeditions utilizing advanced detection equipment reported the presence of geometrically perfect formations that emit their own light at specific frequencies and create measurable interference in electronic equipment. These submarine structures exhibit anomalous physical properties that challenge conventional geological explanations. Collected samples reveal mineral compositions that include synthetic elements not found naturally on Earth, as well as crystalline arrangements that could only be produced through controlled growth techniques under temperature and pressure conditions impossible to achieve naturally in the oceanic environment. Dating by radiometric methods indicates ages varying between 10,000 and 15,000 years, coinciding precisely with the estimated period for Atlantis' destruction. Arcturian civilization represents, according to various esoteric traditions and contemporary contactee reports, one of the most advanced examples of consciousness evolution in the galaxy, having transcended the limitations of purely physical existence approximately 4 million terrestrial years ago. These beings evolved beyond the need for dense material bodies, existing primarily as organized patterns of conscious energy that can manifest temporary physical forms when necessary to interact with less evolved species. Their capacity for physical manifestation allows them to establish temporary colonies in various worlds inhabited by developing species, serving as mentors and evolutionary guides without directly interfering in the free will of assisted civilizations. This philosophy of non-direct interference is fundamental to understanding how the Arcturians operated in Atlantis, providing technology and knowledge through hybrids and local collaborators instead of assuming direct control of terrestrial civilization. The Arcturians developed a medical system that is not based on physical or chemical interventions, but on correcting imbalances in the subtle energetic fields that permeate all living organisms. This quantum medicine operates through direct manipulation of cellular vibrational frequencies, restoring natural harmonic patterns that were distorted by traumas, toxins, or emotional imbalances. The Atlanteans inherited simplified versions of these techniques, explaining the reports about their extraordinary longevity and disease resistance. Their medical technology included crystalline devices capable of instantly scanning the auric field of any living being, identifying imbalances before they manifested as physical symptoms. These devices, known as regenerators or healing chambers, utilize specific frequencies of light and sound to reharmonize cellular energetic patterns, promoting accelerated tissue regeneration and reversal of degenerative processes related to aging. Arcturian social structure functions through a sophisticated collective consciousness where individuality and unity coexist harmoniously without loss of personal identity. Each being maintains their unique personality and individual capabilities, while participating in a group mind that allows voluntary and instantaneous sharing of knowledge, experiences, and resources. This social model completely eliminates conflicts based on competition for resources or power, creating a civilization based on collaboration and mutual evolution. Atlantis did not represent an isolated phenomenon in terrestrial history, but functioned as the coordination center of a worldwide network of interdimensional portals established by the Arcturians as part of a long-term project to accelerate humanity's consciousness evolution. This network connected energetically strategic points around the planet where natural geomagnetic conditions facilitated the opening of stable tunnels in space-time. Evidence of this ancient network can be found in locations where later civilizations built megalithic monuments with architectural precision impossible for technology available at the time, suggesting that these peoples found pre-existing structures or received guidance from Atlantean survivors who preserved fragments of original Arcturian knowledge. The global distribution of these sites follows specific geometric patterns that correspond to a planetary energetic grid. The Great Pyramid of Egypt presents architectural characteristics that transcend its supposed funerary function, suggesting that its original purpose was to serve as a dimensional portal for communication with extraterrestrial civilizations. Its internal chamber, known as the King's Chamber, is positioned at precise mathematical coordinates that create specific acoustic resonances capable of inducing altered states of consciousness conducive to astral travel and interdimensional telepathic communication. Hieroglyphic texts found in secret chambers of the pyramid make explicit references to stellar gods who descended from a bright star in the northern sky, utilizing terminology that corresponds precisely to the astronomical location of Arcturus. These texts describe specific ceremonies performed during stellar alignments that allow direct communication with Arcturian masters, as well as conscious journeys to their civilization through energetic portals activated within the pyramidal structure. Machu Picchu, located in the Peruvian Andes at coordinates that concentrate natural telluric energies of Earth, was built with astronomical precision that indicates knowledge about celestial mechanics far superior to capabilities officially attributed to pre-Columbian civilizations. Quechua legends preserved accounts about luminous beings who descended from the mountains to teach sacred knowledge to ancestors, corresponding exactly to contemporary descriptions of Arcturian appearances. Stonehenge in England functions as a megalithic astronomical computer capable of predicting eclipses, planetary alignments, and other celestial phenomena with impressive precision that rivals modern computational systems. Its structure creates measurable energy fields through contemporary scientific instrumentation, fields that intensify dramatically during specific astronomical periods, suggesting that the monument was designed to facilitate interdimensional travel during predictable cosmic windows. The catastrophic destruction of Atlantis was not the result of a random natural geological event, but the direct consequence of systematic misuse of Arcturian technology by Atlantean factions who deviated from the spiritual principles originally established to govern the civilization. As successive generations of Atlanteans distanced themselves from direct guidance of their Arcturian mentors, groups emerged with conflicting visions about how to utilize the immense technological power inherited from their hybrid ancestors. The central crystal that energized all Atlantean infrastructure functioned through perfect harmonic tuning with frequencies emanated from the stellar core of Arcturus, maintaining a stable dimensional portal that allowed continuous energy transfer through quantum tunnels in space-time. This connection required not only precise technological calibration, but also spiritual alignment of human operators responsible for monitoring and adjusting crystalline systems. When militaristic Atlantean factions began experimenting with modifications to the central crystal to amplify its destructive power, utilizing it as a weapon against neighboring nations instead of a peaceful energy source, harmonic resonance with Arcturus was progressively destabilized. The Arcturians, perceiving through their quantum monitoring systems that their technology was being perverted for violent purposes, sent telepathic warnings to spiritually aligned Atlanteans, alerting about inevitable catastrophic consequences. The final rupture of the Arcturian connection occurred when Atlantean technologists attempted to completely redirect the central crystal's energy to power a network of mass destruction weapons based on molecular disintegration, aiming to militarily subjugate the entire Earth. This radical modification created a dimensional overload that made the quantum portal collapse violently, releasing in seconds all stellar energy accumulated during millennia in the crystalline core. The resulting explosion not only instantly vaporized the main island of Atlantis, but created dimensional shock waves that affected the tectonic stability of the entire planet, unleashing a series of secondary cataclysms that permanently altered terrestrial geography. Gigantic tsunamis swept entire continents, volcanoes erupted simultaneously worldwide, and sudden changes in the planetary axis created climatic alterations that endured for millennia. Although the Arcturians implemented a coordinated physical withdrawal from Earth after the Atlantean cataclysm, their influence on human evolution continued through carefully selected contacts with individuals, especially receptive to Arcturian frequencies. These sporadic contacts resulted in the emergence of mystery schools, esoteric traditions, and initiatic lineages that preserved essential fragments of Atlantean Arcturian knowledge through the millennia of collective amnesia that followed. The teachings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, legendary figure considered the founder of the Hermetic tradition that profoundly influenced alchemy, Western magic, and the foundations of modern science, contain unequivocal references to technologies and cosmological concepts that coincide precisely with contemporary descriptions of Arcturian science. His famous Emerald Tablet articulates principles of dimensional correspondence that are fundamental to understanding how interdimensional portals operate through harmonics between different levels of reality. The Hermetic tradition preserves specific knowledge about elemental transmutation, energy manipulation through sacred geometric symbols, and consciousness expansion techniques that allow direct communication with superior intelligences. This knowledge was carefully codified in allegories and symbols to protect it from misuse, but maintained its practical effectiveness for practitioners adequately prepared through progressive initiatic training. The shamanic traditions of indigenous peoples on all continents preserve surprisingly similar techniques of astral travel, communication with stellar entities, and energetic healing that correspond in detail to Arcturian methods described in modern channeled texts. Shamans from tribes separated by oceans and without historical contact report virtually identical experiences of contacts with luminous masters who come from a specific bright star to transmit healing, wisdom, and spiritual guidance. During the European Renaissance, personalities like Leonardo da Vinci, Giordano Bruno, Johannes Kepler, and Isaac Newton demonstrated scientific and technological insights that were centuries ahead of their time, strongly suggesting access to unconventional information sources. Leonardo produced detailed designs for flying machines, submarines, and other inventions that only became technologically viable hundreds of years later, while his personal notes contained cryptographic references to contacts with beings of light who transmitted knowledge to him through vivid dreams. The 20th century marked the beginning of a new systematized era of contact between Arcturians and terrestrial humans, strategically coinciding with humanity's development of nuclear technology. This milestone represented a critical moment that alerted various cosmic civilizations about the human species' potential for total self-destruction, dangerously echoing the patterns that led to the Atlantean catastrophe 12,000 years before. The Arcturians, maintaining themselves as discrete observers of human evolution during all intermediate millennia, recognized that humanity had again reached a technological inflection point where it could either transcend its evolutionary limitations or repeat the errors that destroyed Atlantis. Consequently, they initiated a carefully coordinated program of gradual recontact to offer spiritual and technological guidance that could prevent a repetition of the ancient disaster. The first documented modern contacts occurred through mediums and channelers especially sensitive, who began receiving telepathic transmissions containing detailed information about Arcturian civilization, their motivations for assisting humanity, and specific warnings about the dangers of uncontrolled nuclear technology. These communications revealed that the Arcturians had maintained secret bases in parallel dimensions near Earth, continuously monitoring human progress. Edgar Cayce, known worldwide as the Sleeping Prophet due to his ability to access information through altered states of consciousness, channeled for decades extraordinarily detailed information about Atlantis that included precise technical descriptions about crystalline technology, energy systems based on stellar frequencies, and specific connections with advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. His psychic readings described concepts of quantum physics and dimensional engineering that would only become comprehensible to official science decades later. From the 1960s, coinciding with the explosion of psychedelic consciousness and interest in Eastern spirituality in the Western world, the number of contactees who reported specific interactions with Arcturian beings increased exponentially. These individuals from various countries and cultural contexts without apparent connection among themselves consistently described encounters with luminous entities of blue-golden energy who communicated exclusively through telepathy and offered teachings about consciousness, evolution, sustainable technologies, and preparation for imminent planetary changes. According to information obtained through multiple independent Arcturian-channeled sources, Earth is entering a critical phase of consciousness evolution that requires coordinated reactivation of interdimensional portals that have remained dormant since Atlantean times. This process of planetary energetic awakening began during the 1980s and should intensify progressively in the coming decades, culminating in an open official recontact with Arcturian civilization and other benevolent galactic species. The reactivation of ancient portals is being implemented in specific locations where terrestrial geomagnetic conditions facilitate stable opening of dimensional tunnels. Sedona in Arizona, Mount Shasta in California, Chapada Diamantina in Brazil, Ayers Rock in Australia, and various other strategic points around the planet have been identified through scientific measurements as centers of anomalous energetic activity that intensifies progressively each year. Sensitive people who visit these locations during periods of high energetic activity report extraordinary experiences that include sightings of Arcturian ships temporarily materializing in the physical dimension, direct telepathic contacts with entities who identify themselves as Arcturian engineers responsible for portal reactivation, and spontaneous activations of latent psychic capabilities that dramatically expand their perception of multidimensional reality. Portal reactivation is being coordinated meticulously to avoid repeating the technological and spiritual errors that led to Atlantis' destruction. This time, the process emphasizes primarily spiritual and ethical development in rigorous parallel to technological advancement, ensuring that humanity demonstrates sufficient consciousness maturity to deal responsibly with Arcturian knowledge before receiving complete access to their technologies. Organized groups of lightworkers, many operating unconsciously under Arcturian telepathic guidance, are participating in this process through coordinated meditations, energetic anchoring ceremonies, and grid activations that progressively strengthen the interdimensional infrastructure necessary to support stable portals. These individuals frequently report vivid dreams or altered state experiences where they receive specific instructions from Arcturian mentors about their role in the planetary preparation process. Arcturian influence on contemporary human technological evolution manifests in a much more subtle and indirect way than occurred in Atlantean civilization. Operating mainly through sudden inspirations and revolutionary insights granted to scientists, inventors, and researchers who demonstrate natural receptivity to Arcturian frequencies. This discrete approach aims to avoid cultural shock and social destabilization that could result from abrupt introduction of radically advanced technologies in a civilization still spiritually immature. Many of the revolutionary scientific discoveries of the last century may have partial or total origin in Arcturian guidance transmitted subconsciously to terrestrial researchers, manifesting as apparently natural development of human science. Semiconductor technology based on silicon crystals that completely revolutionized modern electronics directly echoes Atlantean crystalline technologies described in ancient texts, suggesting that Arcturians are gradually reintroducing fundamental concepts that humanity had mastered in previous civilizations. Contemporary development of quantum computers, communication systems based on quantum entanglement, and information teleportation technologies follow physical principles that Arcturians have mastered for millennia on much larger scales. Scientists working in these areas frequently report revolutionary moments that occur during states of deep relaxation, meditation, or particularly vivid dreams, suggesting receptivity to Arcturian telepathic transmissions. Revolutionary advances in energetic medicine, vibrational therapy, healing through specific frequencies of light and sound, and accelerated cellular regeneration techniques directly reflect Arcturian methods of harmonizing energetic fields that permeate all living organisms. Pioneer researchers in these areas frequently describe sudden insights that arrive as complete information downloads during altered states of consciousness, providing instantaneous understanding of complex principles that would take years to develop through conventional scientific methodology. Growing scientific understanding about the nature of consciousness as a fundamental quantum phenomenon, theories about parallel universes and multidimensional reality, and research on telepathic communication are gradually preparing humanity to accept Arcturian concepts that would seem completely impossible just a few decades ago. This progressive expansion of the official scientific paradigm is essential for eventual official recontact with extraterrestrial civilizations to be accepted by the world population without causing panic or collapse of existing social structures. Observers dedicated to systematic study of unidentified aerial phenomena have documented a statistically significant increase in activity of objects that exhibit propulsion characteristics and behavior consistent with descriptions of Arcturian technology preserved in Atlantean texts. These sightings occur with disproportionate frequency in proximities of locations identified as interdimensional portals in reactivation process, suggesting a direct correlation between UFO activity and the Planetary Energetic Awakening Project. Arcturian ships are consistently described by independent witnesses as luminous structures that change color according to their speed, altitude, and level of materialization in the physical dimension, frequently assuming blue-golden tones characteristic of high-frequency Arcturian energy. Their movement patterns completely challenge known physical laws, including instantaneous stops from supersonic speeds, impossible acceleration without creating sonic shock waves, and direction changes at 90-degree angles without speed reduction. Military radar analyses that occasionally leak to the public domain confirm that these objects demonstrate capabilities that transcend any known terrestrial technology, apparently operating through propulsion principles that directly manipulate local gravitational fields. Military and commercial pilots regularly report encounters with objects that appear to be monitoring human activities without demonstrating hostile intentions, maintaining respectful distances but making clear they possess vastly superior technological capabilities. Telepathic contacts with entities who specifically identify themselves as Arcturians have increased exponentially during recent years, with contactees reporting consistent messages about the approach of a critical transition period for terrestrial humanity. These communications repetitively emphasize the importance of accelerated spiritual development, harmonization with universal cosmic laws, and consciousness preparation for planetary changes that will completely redefine human experience. Unexplained luminous phenomena have been observed and documented through scientific equipment in locations historically associated with Arcturian activity, including geometric formations of light that manifest in the night sky, luminous orbs that move with apparent intelligence responding to human observation, and anomalous auroras that occur at latitudes where they should not be physically possible, according to our current understanding of terrestrial magnetosphere. Channeled prophecies and Arcturian telepathic transmissions consistently indicate that humanity is rapidly approaching an evolutionary inflection point that will irreversibly determine its cosmic future and potential for integration into the galactic community of advanced civilizations. This critical moment, referenced in various traditions as ascension, consciousness quantum leap, or planetary awakening event, will represent a unique opportunity for the human species to transcend its current evolutionary limitations and assume its true potential as conscious co-creators of universal reality. Complete and coordinated reactivation of the Atlantean Arcturian Portal network is temporally synchronized to coincide with specific astronomical alignments that will create naturally stable dimensional windows during predictable periods in coming years. These cosmic events, including rare planetary alignments, intensified solar activity, and the solar system's entry into galactic regions with higher energy density, will facilitate sustained physical materialization of Arcturian representatives on Earth. The integration process will be implemented gradually and with absolute respect for individual and collective free will of humanity, following galactic protocols established for contact with civilizations in evolutionary transition. Individuals who consciously choose to participate in accelerated consciousness evolution will receive direct guidance from Arcturian mentors through multiple channels, including telepathic contact, consensual educational abduction experiences, and participation in interdimensional training programs. Those who prefer to maintain their natural evolutionary trajectory without artificial acceleration will be able to continue their terrestrial experiences without interference or coercion, eventually having future opportunities to choose participation when they feel adequately prepared. This respect for individual consciousness autonomy is fundamental to Arcturian philosophy and guarantees that no being is forced to evolve more rapidly than their soul considers appropriate. The new hybrid civilization that will emerge from this Earth-Arcturian partnership will combine the unique qualities of both species: intense human emotional creativity and experiential passion with ancient Arcturian wisdom and transcendent technological capabilities. This evolutionary model will represent a significant advancement for both terrestrial humans and Arcturians, who will also benefit from the emotional intensity characteristic of human experience, a quality they transcended so long ago they almost completely lost. We have reached the end of this extraordinary journey through the profound mysteries that connect Atlantis to the Arcturians, revealing a historical narrative much more complex, fascinating, and hopeful than any conventional history book would dare present. The multidisciplinary evidence we explored today strongly suggests that our current civilization is reliving an evolutionary cycle that occurred previously in our planetary history, but this time with real opportunities for a radically different and transcendent outcome. The scientific and spiritual curiosity that brought us to these discoveries represents the same propulsive force that drove the Atlanteans in their original quest for cosmic knowledge and connection with superior intelligences. The crucial difference is that we now possess wisdom painfully acquired through millennia of suffering, separation, and collective amnesia to make much more conscious choices about how to responsibly utilize the immense power being offered again to humanity. The extraordinary mysteries we investigated do not represent merely fascinating ancient history, but living prophecies of what may be rapidly approaching on our immediate evolutionary horizon. If the Arcturians truly established Atlantis as an interdimensional portal between worlds, then contemporary reactivation of this network represents a historic second chance for humanity to definitively transcend its planetary limitations and assume its legitimate place in the galactic community of conscious civilizations. What do you feel in your heart when seriously considering these transformative possibilities? Are we really on the eve of a recontact that will forever change our fundamental understanding of who we are as a species, where we really came from, and what is our true cosmic destiny? Or perhaps these multidimensional connections are already manifesting subtly in our daily lives, waiting only for our individual and collective consciousness to be sufficiently mature to recognize and completely embrace them. The cosmic history of humanity continues unfolding moment by moment, and each of us has a unique and essential role to play in this galactic narrative that transcends any fiction. Perhaps the Arcturian Portal never completely closed after Atlantis' destruction, only patiently awaiting the appropriate cosmic moment to manifest again in all its multidimensional plenitude, offering humanity an opportunity for redemption and transcendence that echoes through millennia. If you were genuinely intrigued and transformed by these extraordinary revelations, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and activate notifications to not miss any of our future investigations into the greatest mysteries of human and cosmic existence. Generously share in the comments your own experiences, insights, or theories about this Arcturian connection that may be secretly shaping our reality. Together, as a community of conscious seekers, we will continue courageously exploring the profound secrets that shaped our forgotten past and may determine our extraordinary future.